When a woman decides to return to you, the first thing that will determine whether she stays or pulls away again is how you respond to her presence. If your energy is still coming from a place of needness, if you are still looking at her as the source of your happiness and validation, she will sense that right away and lose interest just as quickly as she came back. Women are wired to feel your vibe more than your words. If you're nervous, uncertain, or overly eager, it communicates that you haven't grown, that you're still the same guy she felt the need to walk away from. The man who holds her attention is the one who has learned to detach from the outcome, who has learned that his value is not dependent on whether she chooses him or not. That calm detachment is powerful because it shows her you're not chasing, you're not desperate, and you're not trying to control the situation. Think about it. When you're not clinging, when you're not suffocating her with attention, you create space. And space is what allows attraction to breathe. If she decides to call you, if she texts you after weeks of silence, the worst thing you can do is flood her with messages or instantly agree to anything just to keep her from slipping away again. That behavior confirms her doubts instead of calming them. But if you can smile, take your time to respond, and treat her as if your life has been full and complete without her, suddenly you stand out as someone who has changed. She feels curiosity, she feels drawn back to that sense of strength, and she begins to wonder if she misjudged you before. It's not about being cold or indifferent. It's about being centered enough that her actions don't control your emotions. Women return to men who show through their energy that they are whole on their own. When you project that kind of security, she doesn't feel the burden of being your everything. Instead, she gets to experience you as a man who chooses her freely, not as someone who needs her to function. That difference is subtle, but it is the difference between attraction that lasts and attraction that burns out the moment old patterns resurface. So when she comes back, isn't to grab hold and cling tight. Your job is to stay relaxed, enjoy the moment, and let her feel that you're content with her without her. That is the energy that keeps her curious, keeps her chasing, and keeps her wanting to invest more. And the beauty of it is that when you truly embrace that mindset, it's no longer an act, it's who you are, and that's what makes her want to stay. When a woman returns, what reignites her interest is not clever words or grand promises, but the unmistakable presence of masculine energy. Deep down, she is drawn to polarity, that dance of masculine and feminine where she feels safe to soften because she can sense you are steady, grounded, and sure of yourself. If she comes back and finds you still scattered, still seeking her approval, still second-guessing everything you say and do, she feels no spark. But when she feels you standing tall in who you are, when your tone carries certainty and your actions reflect quiet confidence, it stirs something deep inside her that words alone can't touch. Masculine presence is not about being overbearing or domineering. It's about being settled in yourself. It's about knowing your direction, holding your ground, and creating a space where her feminine nature can flow freely without fear. Think about the times you first attracted her. Chances are she was magnetized not because you were trying hard, but because you were relaxed and unapologetically yourself. That's what created polarity. Somewhere along the way, if you slipped into neediness or complacency, that polarity weakened and she felt compelled to step away. Now, if she's circling back, she's testing to see if you're still that same guy who wavered, or if you've leveled up into the man she can respect and trust. If she notices that your presence is stronger, that you carry yourself differently, that you're not shaken by her moods or indecision, she begins to feel drawn back into your orbit almost effortlessly. Rebuilding emotional polarity isn't about big gestures. It's in the little things. The way you maintain eye contact without looking away nervously. The way you pause before speaking instead of rushing to fill silence. The way you calmly make decisions rather than waiting for her to lead. All of these subtle signals communicate something powerful, that you are the masculine center she can lean into. And when she feels that her own feminine energy naturally softens, she wants to connect, she wants to open up, and she feels safe in your strength. It's also important to remember that polarity grows when you live aligned with your purpose. A woman feels your presence most when she sees you are engaged in your mission, building your life, and moving forward regardless of whether she is by your side or not. That kind of focus makes you magnetic. She doesn't want to be the center of your world. She wants to join a man who already has a world worth being part of. When you embody that masculine presence, you don't need to convince her of anything. She feels it, and that feeling pulls her closer again and again. When a woman comes back into your life, the temptation is to forget everything that happened before and roll out the red carpet like nothing ever went wrong. But the reality is, if you do that, she senses weakness. She sees that you're willing to compromise your self-respect just for the chance to have her around again, and that erodes the very attraction that brought her back. Respect is built on boundaries, and boundaries don't mean controlling her or trying to dictate her every move. Boundaries mean you know what you will and won't tolerate, and you calmly stand by that without anger, without drama, and without apology. A woman feels safest and most drawn to a man who knows himself well enough to live by his standards. When she returns, it's almost always a test. She wants to see if you're the same man she left or if you've grown into someone stronger. If you let her walk back in and take control without any regard for how things should be, you confirm her doubts. But if you meet her return with calm strength, welcoming her presence but not abandoning your dignity, you signal that the dynamic is different now. You're not chasing, you're not desperate, you're choosing. And that shift makes her respect you more than any flowery words ever could. Subtle boundaries are powerful because they're not about ultimatums, they're about consistency. Maybe she calls late at night expecting you to drop everything, but instead of rushing, you answer when it works for you. Maybe she wants to jump right back into the same patterns, but you guide things at a slower pace that matches your standards. The point is, you show her through your actions that you value your time, energy, and your life, and she must value them too if she wants a place in it. That quiet firmness creates attraction because it shows her you're not bending over backward to please her. You're inviting her into a life that already has meaning with or without her. A woman can only truly respect a man when she sees that he respects himself. That doesn't mean being harsh or distant. It means staying true to your principles. If she feels she has to earn your attention instead of being guaranteed it, she invests more. If she realizes she can't walk all over you, she softens and admires you more. And if she sees that you're strong enough to let her go again rather than betray your values, she knows she's with a man worth holding on to. Boundaries don't push her away, they invite her to lean in. Because deep down, every woman craves the certainty of a man who cannot be swayed from his standards. When she decides to reach out again, the way you communicate will either rebuild attraction or destroy it completely. Most make the mistake of diving straight back into heavy conversations, bringing up the past, or interrogating her about why she left and what she wants now. That kind of energy feels desperate, and it pushes her away because it communicates you're still holding on to pain and looking for reassurance. The smarter way is to keep things light, playful, and warm. When your words carry ease instead of tension, she relaxes around you. She starts to associate being with you not with conflict or stress, but with laughter and good feelings. And that's what makes her want to stick around. Think about it. She didn't return to argue. She came back because something inside her remembered how she felt when things were good. If the first thing she runs into is you being serious, demanding, or defensive, it confirms her doubts. But if you greet her presence with charm, humor, and kindness, she feels like she's meeting a better version of you. You're not rehashing the old script, you're writing a new one. That difference alone creates a new emotional imprint, and women are drawn to how they feel when they're around you more than anything you logically explain. It's not about pretending the past never happened. It's about refusing to live in it. If she wants to talk about what went wrong, you listen without defensiveness, but you don't dwell. You don't try to justify yourself or drag the old issues back into the spotlight. You acknowledge them with calm, but then you shift the focus back to the present moment. You tease her a little, you laugh together, you share something positive. That emotional reset is what keeps her coming closer because she realizes she doesn't feel the heaviness anymore. She feels drawn to the lighter, happier energy you're giving off. The man she respects is the one who can make her feel safe and happy without pressuring her, the one who carries himself as if life is good with or without her, and the way you speak is the reflection of that mindset. If you're relaxed and fun, she feels like she's stepping into a new dynamic, not revisiting the same cycle. That's the difference between reigniting her interest for a moment and keeping her invested long term. At the end of the day, it's not the serious talks or promises that matter most, it's the emotional experience you create with her. If that experience is warm, playful, and free of desperation, she will want more of it. And wanting more is what keeps her coming back. When she returns, one of the most important things she is unconsciously scanning for is whether your life has a sense of purpose beyond her. If all she sees is that you've been waiting around, living in limbo until she came back, her attraction will fade quickly because no woman wants to feel like she's a man's only reason for existing. Women are drawn to men who are deeply engaged in their own mission, men who wake up with direction, who are building something bigger than themselves, and who invite her to share in that world rather than revolve their entire world around her. Purpose is magnetic because it shows her you are strong, independent, and fulfilled, and it gives her the space to relax into her own feminine energy without feeling the burden of being your lifeline. The truth is, when your life is filled with ambition, passion, and drive, you don't have to force attraction, it happens naturally. She sees you pursuing goals, staying disciplined, maintaining your friendships, taking care of your health, and chasing dreams. That paints a picture of a man who is in motion. A man who is evolving. And that movement excites her because it reminds her why she was attracted to you in the first place. Women crave the feeling of being swept up in a man's journey, of being with someone who knows where he's going. If she feels you've lost that edge, that you're aimless, she feels unsafe, and attraction dies. But when she sees you focused and when she comes back, words alone won't convince her that things will be different this time. She has already heard promises before, maybe even more than once, and those promises didn't keep her from walking away. What will capture her attention now is not what you say, but what you consistently do. Actions are the language women trust. If you tell her you've changed, but your behavior still reflects the same insecurities, the same patterns, and the same lack of self-respect, she will sense the inconsistency and distance herself again. But if she sees that you actually live differently, if she notices that you no longer drop everything to chase her, that you stay calm when she tests you, that you lead without hesitation, that new standard speaks louder than any declaration ever could. A woman's attraction grows when she feels she can rely on your strength. Consistency is what creates that reliability. If you're confident one day and needy the next, she won't feel safe investing her emotions again. But if she sees steady self-control, steady focus, and steady improvement, she relaxes because she knows you're not just trying to win her back temporarily. You're living as the man you were meant to be. And when your actions line up with that truth, she can lean into you without fear of collapse. Living this way requires discipline. It's easy to talk about being confident, about being on your purpose, about respecting your boundaries, but the real measure is whether you live it when it's uncomfortable. When she pushes your buttons, when life gets chaotic, that's when your actions prove who you are. If you remain calm, if you continue to prioritize your mission, if you handle challenges with composure, she sees the difference. And it's that difference that keeps her invested. The beauty of acting instead of promising is that you no longer need to convince her of anything. You don't need to explain that you've grown. She experiences it every time she's around you. She feels it in the way you look at her without flinching, in the way you guide the interaction without force, in the way you're present without being clingy. That energy is undeniable because it's real. And the more real it is, the more she trusts it. So when she returns, let your actions do the talking. Be consistent in your growth. Be unwavering in your standards, and let her feel through experience that you're not the same man she left. Over time, those actions build a new foundation of respect and attraction that words could never create. And that is what makes her want to stay for good.